And they were like, so where you going, man? I was like, Okinawa. And they're like, how the hell did you do that? It's like everybody wanted to come here, and I was like, oh, really? Okay, I didn't know anything. Like, and so it's like, where are you from? And I'm like, South Africa. And they're like, San Francisco. And I'm like, no, South Africa. I'm like, friends, and she introduced me to a lot of her friends. There's a thing called a moai. Do you know about that? There's a lot of things where people are the same, like people enjoy music, people enjoy nice food, people enjoy dating, people enjoy watching movies, these kinds of things. I think that's very similar. Yeah. Are you like gonna go back to your country after this?
Not now.
Not now. Okay. Going back into tourism, but I think they need to diversify their portfolio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like music's not about the destination, it's not about the end of the song, right?
Yeah.
So otherwise we'd go to concerts and there'd be like a second and we'd be there, all done.
Yeah.
And I ended up in Okinawa.
Hey guys, I would like to announce that I started like a series of videos about Okinawa, and in these videos I will invite people who have already been living in Okinawa for a while, so like several years and more. And my first guest is Justin.
Hey.
So can you introduce yourself?
Sure, no problem. Everyone, my name is Justin. I've been in Okinawa for like 15 years now.
15 years?
Yeah. I was originally born in South Africa. Spent a long time there. Came here 15 years ago as an English teacher. And I'm still teaching English, yeah. When I came to Okinawa, I really fell in love with the place, and I met my wife, which just helped me fall in love with the place. And yeah, I've started a family here, and I've been here, and I don't think I'm gonna go anywhere soon, man.
So it's your home now?
Yeah,
right?
This is my home now. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me, like, first time when you arrived to Okinawa, how was it? So what did you feel? It was like long time ago, right?
Yeah, it was a really long time ago. So maybe the first thing I noticed was the humidity. I arrived in the middle of, at the end of July.
Oh.
And I walked out of the airplane. I just like this wave of moist air hit me. I was like, oh, okay, I've come to like a really tropical place. And then, I met the people that were going to take care of me, and we went up to where I was going to live, and people were really friendly, and they helped me get settled in very nicely, and yeah, it was good. I was working as a assistant language teacher at local high schools then, so I noticed that there was a definite language barrier. I didn't know enough Japanese. I knew like arigato and konnichiwa, and that was about it. So I realized I had a lot to learn. Yeah.
So you mean so when you talk about people, you mean they are like company members, right?
Yeah, there were people that I was working with at the schools, like the other English teachers, so they could all speak English. Yeah.
And after that, you start to improve your Japanese, right?
I did, yeah. So studying Japanese, I started with these books, and I got them in the post, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff to study and listen to, and then I would fill out the test at the end of the book and post it somewhere. Someone would check it and send me the next book. So that's how I learned.
So did you send like to Tokyo? Or?
Yeah, to Tokyo, yeah. And then when I got good enough that I could understand enough of what was going on, we found a real Japanese teacher that would teach us privately. So there was like 3 or 4 teachers like me that got together at like a restaurant in Mago, and we would just learn Japanese. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, that's how I learned. Yeah.
So when you teach your classes, so it means like you speak in English with the students, right?
So at my current job at the university, yeah, I speak mainly English, but I will say, like back then when I just arrived, having a lot of Japanese skill really helped things to go much easier in class. Yeah.
So what about other like people? So when they get to know that you're from South Africa, how do they react to that?
Usually this is the kind of conversation. So it's like, where are you from? And I'm like, South Africa. And they're like, San Francisco. And I'm like, no, South Africa. I'm like, South America. I'm like, no, South Africa. And they're like, is that a country? Like, yeah. So it takes a while. Yeah. People can't believe I'm from South Africa.
Really?
Yeah.
And so after you start to explain them, like, where is it? What is the city?
Yeah. Then maybe because of the way I look, I'm not your stereotypical African looking person. So then they're like, okay, yeah, now I understand. So
I get it.
Yeah, it takes a while. Yeah.
Okay. So you started to live here, right? So you started to meet some friends, right? Having like some hobbies maybe on weekends, right?
Yeah.
And how did you feel about it? So I mean, like first 2-3 years, so did you feel that you enjoyed the place?
So I'm gonna be honest, in the first 2 to 3 years, like I was hanging out a lot with these other teachers that came on the same program as me. So we were all in a very similar situation and we were exploring the island, so we were checking out things and stuff like that. And then I met my wife, and then I started hanging out a lot more with her and her friends. So yeah, things seem to change a lot. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But you probably together did like the same things. You like explored the island, right? Went to some places.
Yes. So like with my teacher friends, everything's new, right? So like guys, you won't believe I found this great restaurant, and like, but with my wife, back then it would be like, yeah, I know about that. Like, you know what I mean? So it was more. She kind of showed me the kind of stuff that I hadn't seen with my friends. So, she lived in Naha, which was far away from where I lived, so there were a lot of things that I could see there that she introduced me to, like places that they would go out with their friends. She introduced me to a lot of her friends. There's a thing called a moai. Do you know about that? It's like an Okinawan culture thing.
Okay, I don't know.
So how this works is these people meet, say, once a month, and they maybe got a restaurant or something. But the one thing that they do is they all bring money and they put it together every month.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah.
Okay, and then slowly that money gets bigger and bigger, and then like maybe someone needs to go to the hospital for an operation, a member of this moai, and then they've got all these savings that they can help each other with. So I met my wife's moai, and they weren't very big on the saving part, but it was more about like, let's meet up and catch up with each other. So yeah, that was nice to kind of get to know some locals. Yeah.
So it means they live kind of community life, right? It means they have like local community here, and they contribute to community, and in future they expect that the community pay them back, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of untypical, right, for your country, like in South Africa.
Actually, so I was telling my parents about this. So maybe before insurance was in South Africa, there was something like this in Afrikaans. I think it's called stokvel, and people used to do the same kind of thing. They would all put into this like basket of money in a bank, or I don't know where they kept it, but and it was a kind of insurance without the insurance company. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
what I was going to was not about the insurance part of it. It was more about like keeping socializing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so it means like kind of kind of insurance company, right? So they kind of set up an insurance company.
Yeah, basically, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And after you met your wife, so how did you feel? Like, so did you feel at that moment that you get to know Okinawa better, or you still had some feeling that it's kind of so different to you that it will take like ages to understand the culture and to understand the people?
So I felt that I was learning much more about Okinawa. I don't know. Yeah, of course, everything's different being from South Africa, and the way I was experiencing Okinawa with my friends and the way that I experienced Okinawa with my wife was quite different. So I feel like I got to see much more of like just how normal people lead their day-to-day lives and this kind of thing. Whereas like what we were doing with friends is we were going to like summer festivals, but that's not day-to-day life. That's you know, I mean, it was fantastic. We watched great fireworks and stuff like that. But with my wife, I was learning more. Just what do people do on a Monday night at home or something like that? So yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
So can you just mention what is like the most strongest difference you have ever like mentioned between European culture and Okinawan culture?
I think after my wife and I had kids, that's when I started really noticing differences. So, so did you have your own room when you were growing up?
Yeah, first I shared with my sister. And
okay, yeah, I shared with my brother. But how old were you when you didn't share with your sister?
Maybe until 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in South Africa, a lot of us had our own room. Like there was like my personal space, and my brothers shared for a long time, but it was kind of a normal thing that kids had their own room. Yeah, and so that was just like not here. My wife was an only child, so of course she only ever had her own room, but well, actually, it's like she shared with her parents. The house seems more like a family thing than each person's got their own personal space thing. So this personal space thing was a bit of an issue. And then like raising kids, I really felt that it's like a family thing. You know what I mean? Whereas in South Africa. And please remember that South Africa is a very multi-cultural country. So I'm speaking about like a very small minority of English-speaking white South Africans that I grew up with, and it was kind of different. So yeah.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. So one day I invited my friend to my apartment, and there was like, so there is my chair. You know, in my apartment there are 4 chairs.
Okay.
And one of them is my chair.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And when the friend sit onto the chair, I said, "Hey, come on, this is my chair."
This is my chair. Okay. Yeah.
And I guess that's actually what you mean, right? That everything's common. You know, you can take almost everything.
Maybe. Yeah. It's like, so that this was another like. So maybe you've heard people say this, like they like. I want people to walk into my house and like go into the fridge and take something if they're hungry or something. Like maybe we would say that in South Africa, but I would never walk into someone's house and open their fridge and take something out, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's how it was, but that really seemed to be quite normal. You know what I mean? So there's big cultural difference there. Yeah.
So we talked about the different, but what is like the most similar thing between Okinawan and Europeans?
Similar. Yeah, you stumped me here.
Sometimes I have already been living in different countries.
Yes.
And I mentioned, okay, we are different, but at some things we are the same.
I think there's a lot of things where people are the same. Like people enjoy music, people enjoy nice food, people enjoy dating, people enjoy watching movies, these kinds of things. I think that's very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So what do you think about the modern generation? So it means like people who get like 20 years old right now. So do you think they are quite different comparing to like your generation? So I mean the local Okinawa.
In local Okinawa. So you must remember, I worked in a high school.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot of the younger generation, it seems like a dream to go from Okinawa to the mainland.
For like education or for work?
Could be for education, could be for work, could be for just they want to adventure or something like that. If I think about my wife, like she had a few friends that went to Tokyo or another prefecture and like tried it out. A lot of them came back, but like they went just to try it out. So yeah, like in South Africa, I lived in a very, very small town, and so like there was this idea that like one day I'm going to leave, and I feel that that's also here to a certain degree. But I also think, so on the flip side of that, there's like a strong family. So the firstborn son, for example, is going to look after like the family.
Yeah. So
the firstborn son, it would be quite irresponsible to like leave everyone and just go to Tokyo, for example. So I feel they also stay here.
I see.
That's kind of a traditional value. I don't know if modern firstborn sons are so tightly held into that, but I think that does. I think a lot of the younger people that stay here are keeping those older family traditions. They're looking after their families and stuff like that. So.
But why is it? Why is it like a dream to go to mainland? Why?
I think people. I mean, I think the jobs in Okinawa's got the lowest salaries in Japan, and I think the national universities, like, okay, granted, Okinawa's got Ryukyu University, and it's it's a national university, but I think a lot of comparing to like the Tokyo universities or the Kyoto universities or something like that, that's like the main aim. Like in South Africa, to go to one of the universities in the big city was like a big deal, man. That was so. I think so. I think it's kind of the same vibe as that. You know what I mean? Like I think you could earn more money there. There might be more nightlife there as a young person. More like different kind of music things and that, you know what I mean, like subcultures and stuff that you'd have to find that in Tokyo. I don't think you could find all of that stuff here.
So maybe it's also like if you live in South Africa, you kind of dream about living in the UK, right? Like
there are a lot of South Africans that did seem to go to the UK. I would agree with that. So, yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But I think if like growing up in a small town in South Africa, like going to a big city in South Africa was quite
enough.
Like I was just quite a dream, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Well, for me it was, at least, and I think for a lot of my friends it was as well. Yeah.
Okay, Justin. So you have family, you have kids. How do you communicate with kids? Do you use English or Japanese?
So we use English at home, and then we use Japanese outside the house. So yeah, this is kind of this. I get asked this a lot. So let me just explain. So I went to a conference a couple of years back, and they were like, "How do you raise a bilingual kid?" Right? And then, so there's this theory. It's called the OPOL theory, one parent, one language theory. So the one parent speaks English, one parent speaks Japanese, for example. Could be Spanish and English in the States or something, right? So they went through this and they looked at, like, especially in a country like Japan or like the United States, where there's one major language that almost everyone speaks. That Opal way of doing things, usually it's like, I think it was more than 70% failure to make a bilingual child. So there's this other theory, it's called the one location, one language theory. So you try and both parents are using the minor language at home, and when they go outside into the outside world, they use the major language. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to speak English at home, and then when we go outdoors as a family, we'll start speaking to people in the streets in Japanese. And
I see.
so that's our theory. Look, my eldest is still only 6 years old, so she's bilingual now, but this is not, I can't tell you how successful it's going to be. We're still trying. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
But you wish they can speak like both languages.
Yeah. So like, I'd really like my daughters to be able to speak to their grandparents in South Africa. So yeah, I think it would be a good thing. And then also from my wife's side, like my wife learned English here. She went to the States. She did a degree in the States. So she's also like, this English will really open up their world, because it opened up her world for her. So she wants them to have that. Yeah.
So can I ask one question?
Sure.
So it's so you mentioned that your wife, she went to the US, right? And to get a degree, right?
Yeah.
So does it mean that when people get out of Okinawa for some time, probably like several years, so they kind of change, right? They not really like pure like Okinawan behavior, right? So they start to get like different cultures, and how they work, and they also change, right?
Yeah. Just the same as I've changed. So like, yeah, I think that's a universal for everyone. So yeah, I think people that leave Okinawa, just like people that leave South Africa, they go to other countries and
I see.
they change. You've changed.
I've changed a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's quite normal.
I mean, so recently I speak to my friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes I even feel that they don't really understand me, because a lot of concepts in my brain, they have changed,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So like the typical way of judging is not the same to me right now,
Sure. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it means like still like my friends, they are very progressive, I would say.
Sure.
So
yeah.
they still like get very connected with European culture and American culture, but still like when you live in some environment, so environment affects you like a lot, right?
Yeah.
And when you change the environment, you change yourself. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So it's a normal process. Yeah.
I think it's a normal process. Yeah. Yeah. Like for me, like one of the biggest things, like, so you were speaking about like European culture, and like so for me, like in South Africa, I came here with a pair of diesel jeans. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And nobody knew what they were. Nobody cared. Like, what? And I was like, okay, yeah. And then I just realized, like, in South Africa, I was like saved a lot of money to go buy. I got them on a sale somewhere, and I was like, yeah. And nobody cared. Yeah. So yeah, and just like little things like that, like things that I put a lot of value into in South Africa, were just seen as like, really? Oh, okay.
And what did you do? Like you change?
So yeah, my values, I guess, started becoming more like the values here. So
yeah, I can realize. Right?
Yeah. So these shirts, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm getting known as that shirt guy. Yeah. So like, actually, these have all been like gifts, like presents for like Father's Day and birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that. So, but I'll be honest with you, like I don't want to wear a suit and tie, which I did for a while, and that sucked. So yeah, this is much easier, man.
I see. So did you have something like long hairs when you came here or not?
Yeah, I guess. in South Africa, like I went to an all boys school, and they had a very strict like dress code.
I see.
And I had really short hair, and then I went to university and I was like, I'm gonna grow it all out. And then I did. I got it out of my system, and then after that it's just like I go between like maybe so long and so short all the time. Nothing's decided,
Yeah,
or
I see.
influenced by the culture, I guess.
I see.
Yeah.
Another thing, so actually before you told me that before you came to Okinawa, so
Yeah.
you worked at some company like software engineer, right?
Yeah. In South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did not work like a teacher before you came to Okinawa?
Not at all. No,
Uh-huh.
no. This was like just I wanted to try something like totally different with my life, and so that's what I did.
So does it
coming
mean
here.
like you started like a new life when you?
Yeah, I
when
would
you
say
came
it.
here?
I was hoping to try start a new life, and I'm going to be honest. I wasn't like super into the programming thing. Like, when I went to university, have you ever done an aptitude test?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and I did an aptitude test, and then like that came out like you could be a cartographer. Do you know what a cartographer is? Someone who makes maps.
Yeah.
And then I was like, huh, what? And then they're like, you can do it in anything you want to do. And I was like, what? Okay. So I liked computers, and so I was like, I'll be a programmer. And then I did programming, and then the first job I got was making software for like investment banks and things like that. And so I just like kind of followed it, yeah. And then I remember I was working with like one of these renowned statisticians in South Africa, and he was like, maybe you should try something else, you know. And then that's when I really started thinking about it. Like, yeah, he was like, maybe you're not cut out for this, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'm not. And then I started looking outside, and maybe let's try teaching in Japan, because that's like so totally different to what I've done so far. So that's how it started. Yeah.
And how did you came up with the idea to come to Okinawa exactly?
So I didn't even choose to come to Okinawa. So on this program, they send you a brochure, right? And then they're like,
So it's like a lottery.
yeah. Well, basically they say like choose where you want to live, and then they've got like all the prefectures there. My knowledge of Japan was like Tokyo and Osaka. Like I didn't know anything else, and and then there was another 2 boxes that you could tick. You like city, countryside. And I was like, well, I'm kind of a countryside person, so I tick countryside.
I see. I got it.
And I ended up in Okinawa. And then I remember, like when I came on the program, I was like, because we had this like big meeting in Tokyo, and they were like, so where you going, man? I was like, Okinawa. And they're like, how the hell did you do that? Like everybody wanted to come here, and I was like, oh really? Okay, I didn't know anything. Like I arrived here really not knowing much about Okinawa at all. So
But
yeah,
it
I
just
feel really
happened,
lucky.
right?
It's just like fate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. How about you? How did you get here, man?
Just by chance.
Just by chance, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's be honest, right? So I was looking for a job, and I found this position here. And I had no idea what is Okinawa at all. And first, what I did, I just opened Gmaps, and checked where is it located, and I turned on the satellite view.
Okay.
And I've seen that sea.
Yes.
Like blue color sea.
Amazing, right? Yeah.
Green land, you know. And I found I must be there.
Well, also for me, so like I grew up really far away from the sea, like 8 kilometers from the sea. So like anywhere where there's ocean, I was quite excited about being. So when I saw I was on like this island, I was like, yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah.
So what about other islands around Okinawa? So like Ishigaki, Miyako. So did you travel to there?
Yes. So when I arrived, there was another English teacher like me who was from New Zealand, and he was like, we got to run. So I went and I did a lot of marathons with him.
Yeah.
And honestly, I that would be my like biggest suggestion to a lot of people, is just do the marathons. So I went to a lot of outer islands, like I went to Kume Island, I went to Ishigaki for a different reason, but I went to Miyako. I went to all of these islands, and mainly for running.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and doing like half marathons.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's also a really nice place where you get to see the culture. Like you get to see like people standing outside their houses banging pots and like cheering you on and stuff. And that was really, really nice. And those marathons have like these like parties afterwards, so it's a nice vibe. Everyone's eating together. It just felt really good, man. Yeah.
So is there a big difference between the largest island and the small islands?
Yes, yes.
What is it?
So a lot of children leave those main islands.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the islands have like until junior high school. So they may have a junior high school on their island, but then like high school there's nothing. So the children have to leave the island to go study later.
It's hard, right?
Yeah. And then if they want to go to university, they're going to stay away longer from the island. And so what I felt while I was there is there's a lot of kids and older people. And then that middle gap was kind of, there's a few of them, but you can definitely feel it's missing. Yeah. And then the other islands, so their real main income is tourism, and you can feel that. So you go there and it's like diving shops and stuff like that, and then the people that actually like run the island, or like being the postman or whatever, all those kind of jobs, like the locals.
But it's almost the same like here, or it's like more vivid there, right?
I think it's really vivid there. You can just get the feeling. There's not many people my age there,
I see.
especially when I went there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we try to look into the future, right? If we imagine like 15 years like ahead, how do you see like how Okinawa is going to develop? Like in which way? Is it like more like industrial way, or it's still like about tourism? Or
That's a really good question. I don't know. So I just feel with the pandemic that like Okinawa kind of lost sight, or not lost sight, but they lost the enthusiasm of the tourism, because they realized investing so much in tourism is not gonna help you in like a pandemic. Like there's stories about like hotels on like these beautiful islands that got hit by hurricanes, and they just like disappeared. No, everyone forgot about them, and I hope that doesn't happen to Okinawa. But yeah, the pandemic was hard, man. It's you can still feel it, you know. So so where will Okinawa go from the future? In the future, yeah.
So let's just imagine like your kids are growing, right? And the first kid, the oldest, right?
Yeah.
Right? So in 10 years, the kid will be thinking about like university, right? Which university to study in, and how do you imagine that? So do you imagine that they will need to leave the island to get like better education, right?
I think studying in South Africa is so much cheaper.
Ah, okay.
And my family's still there, so we've thought about this. But what she like, I mean, we'll see the situation. It's a long time from now, right? It's like 10 years or more away. So yeah, I mean, of course, it really depends what she's interested in, and like what she studies, and how that will fit into Okinawa at the time. And I mean, so me, for example, I think if I came to Okinawa as a computer programmer, I probably would have done better going to Tokyo as a computer programmer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think depending what she sees as her life goal, I think that will determine more for my children where where they're gonna live. But like Okinawa in general, it's difficult to say. Like, it is such a nice tourist place, right? It's like the beaches are amazing, so I totally get why they went for it, yeah. And I really think it's kind of unique as a tourist destination, but it does kind of leave them exposed. So it wouldn't surprise me if people started going back into tourism, but I think they need to diversify their portfolio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Let's bring you. So you came here because you had a job opportunity. Are you like gonna go back to your country after this?
Not now.
Not now. Okay. Yeah. And to be really honest, I'm probably not gonna go back to my country, and it's not because of the political situation in my country, but like English teachers in South Africa, I think there's quite a lot of them, and here I've kind of built a career teaching English as a foreign language, whereas in South Africa I think I'd just be another English teacher. So yeah, I think the career I kind of followed here would just not be helpful for me. But how about you, man? Like, what's your situation? Things change, right?
So it changes very quickly, you know. So as I told, like 1 year ago, I lived in the situation when I had something behind. When I can anytime return back to my country, and I can stay there, I can meet with my friends, drink coffee, enjoy the nice weather. But at this moment, the thing changes, and I feel myself like a little homeless, you know. And my friends are scared.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're definitely scared.
Yeah.
And what it means that still, like, I guess I'm in a good situation because I left my country around 10 years ago.
Okay.
So it means I'm kind of not really stick to my country, you know, so I can find myself anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Just depends on the job, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, and I'm open mind. I mean, like, I can live in any country. I can try to adapt to the culture again, you know, find friends. And to me, it's still like a journey. Yeah, I continue my journey in the world, and finally, I guess, no, I know when it will end up. So it will end up when I meet my wife. Yeah. So it will just end up at some place, you know.
Yeah. But I heard a good saying this morning. So like music's not about the destination. It's not about the end of the song, right?
Yeah.
So otherwise we'd go to concerts and there'd be like a second and we'd be there, all done.
Yeah.
So it's all about like the journey there, and like dancing is the same. We're not trying to get to a certain place on the floor. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's good. I think life is just got to come with all the balls that come your way. You just got to like figure it out as you go along. Dude, my life has been a lot like that. So as things have happened, I think I feel I've been very lucky. I've just been in the right place at the right time to find a job as an English teacher or something like this, you know what I mean? Or meet my wife or something like that. So yeah, I really think but yeah, meeting the woman of your dreams and starting a family may limit the journey part of it, but I still feel like I'm learning a lot. There's all new kinds of things that I'm learning after having a family, so it's a different kind of learning.
So I still think that in the modern world, so it's better to get married after 30.
After 30, yeah,
because before that you can just enjoy your life just privately, you know.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. I think I would have had a very different life if I got married earlier. I might obviously wouldn't be here, but and it's we were speaking about this earlier. Like it's not like the movies, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
like
It's
like the modern generation, they have some vision that everything what happens around, it should be like in the movie.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So just I'll just check
Okay.
with you. I feel like it falls down.
Did it? Ah, okay.
Kind of.
When does it fall? This is perfect now.
I think so. Yeah.
The love bugs are here, eh?
Yep.
Are they back?
Yeah, it's here. Yeah, the back moves a little, like from
Okay.
time to time.
All right.
Okay, so basically, I think that the modern generation, they have like a vision of their life like in a movie. You know, everything what happens around should be perfect, should
Yeah.
be like brilliant.
Yeah.
But you probably mentioned that the life is not about that, you know. So sometimes we have very like vivid moments,
Sure. Yeah.
which makes us happy, but sometimes we have drops, and we should be prepared for such drops. And when it happens, we, like you mentioned, it's like a dance, you know. So in dance, you don't just reach some goal. You just feel this vibe, you know. You keep going.
Kind of go with it.
Yeah.
And
You kind of innovate.
see where it
Yeah.
takes you. Yeah.
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 And that's like, to be honest, after living in Okinawa, I started to understand it.
Okay.
Before I was just so, you know, I'm kind of very goal-focused person. This.
But I think it's the culture that, well, I was brought up in like a kind of like achievement kind of culture. So like you got your goals, you meet your goals, and what's
Yeah,
my
I
next
guess
goal? What's my next goal? What's my next goal? And so like,
yeah, I
yeah.
guess it's kind of American culture, you know.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, like in my country, there was like a strong influence of American culture for the last 30 years,
Okay.
and I was under this influence. But first time when I came to Okinawa, I had a strong feeling that I don't know what is life about, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after I started to live here, I understood a lot of very simple things, you know. And the things are just about that when you walk to a beach, so when you walk to a beach and you just simply walk there, this is the happiness.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, maybe after starting a family, like just sitting down with your child and playing, like, so actually the pandemic kind of helped me for this, because like I was like, always got to go somewhere, we've got to go to the zoo, still had this goal orientation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like during the pandemic, just like sitting down, like she wants to color something. Okay, yeah, let's just color in this book, okay? And yeah, it was real happiness. So yeah, like those simple things that you're mentioning, like start to bring out a different kind of happiness in you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I guess in that sense, Okinawan people, I learned a lot from them about the happiness of life, you know. Sometimes, you know, sometimes people, they just look at them and they think they live very simple life, and probably they just waste their lives, you know. But in fact, maybe one guy sitting in a Tokyo office from like 9 p.m. to 10 from 9 a.m. till like 10 p.m. He actually wastes his life, you know.
Yeah. So there's this guy, this guy, yeah. So he lives in Noho Island.
So can you tell us that story?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So when we were exploring all the islands with the other teachers, we went to a place called Noho Island. So the most north island of Okinawa is called Iheya Island. It's actually got two parts to it, and Noho Island is the most north one.
Yeah.
So there's this guy that worked for like some energy corporation in Tokyo.
Large company, right?
Yeah, and he just had it. Give this all up. We're going to do something totally different. And he decided he was going to make salt with his life. Yeah. And so he came to Okinawa and he set up this small salt factory on that island. And so he's selling salt now to some of the Michelin. Do you know about the Michelin guide? Yeah. So all these Japanese people ask me like, you know about the Michelin guide, and it's like this guide of like these restaurants.
Restaurants.
If you get into the Michelin guide, like
yeah.
that's it, you sorted. So anyway, he sells salt to some of these Michelin guide restaurants. So his salt is like really sought after around the world. And then like him and his wife, they brought up their kid on that island, and they go on trips to like these other salt factories around the world. So they go and like see like Himalayan salt factories, and yeah, it's like he leads such an interesting life, and it's not what he was probably planning to do at like the age of 19 or something, or while he was in university. So
yeah, but it's still like even he works like at a high level, you know. So it means he doesn't sell the salt just to like local grocery
oh
stores,
no,
you know?
okay, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Saying. Yeah. He's on a whole new level of
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, he's still pushing it. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So just double check again.
Yeah, it's fine.
But that guy, like when he arrived, like they had nothing, and
Yeah, but he had some money, right?
he had some money, but like I think he bought a cheap house in Ihaya, and like a typhoon came and it blew it over.
Oh.
And wait, no, I'm telling the story wrong now. So he wanted to build a salt factory, and he wanted to build a house. He wanted to build a building that would be his salt factory building. And then all the people on the island gave him this waste wood that they weren't using, and they helped him to build this building. Yeah, and so he did it. It's a community, and like I feel that's quite important. Like I think in South Africa, I didn't feel like you feel it on these islands. If you don't have the community, you don't have anything, right? So like you've got to work together to make things happen. Yeah. Whereas like before I had a family, it was very like, it's my unit family, I'm gonna pursue this like long-term career in this, and these are the steps that I have to take to get there and stuff. And now I'm feeling more like, you know what, that's okay right now. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to. Sitting coloring in a book with Kiara is really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but you do some like you play on guitar, right? You study
Piano
how to make
stuff.
music.
Yeah.
So it means you still could like make some growth of your.
Yeah. I think we should all try like some personal growth here and there, but yeah.
Yeah, because
not giving up completely. Yeah.
Because there are some people, and I would like not just to kind of discriminate such people. I would like to inspire them that so even when you have a job and you have a family, so you still have some space where you can grow, right?
Yeah.
Like personally grow.
Yeah.
And I guess so what do you think about like Okinawa? Many people, they do some kind of marine sports here, right? Like scuba diving, snorkeling.
Tourists, yes.
But not local, right?
Yeah, I don't know that. So when I arrived, I got told there was a saying with the locals, like the sea is beautiful to look at. Period.
Yeah.
So, although fishing, I think there's a lot of people that do fishing.
I see them,
Yeah. But maybe not snorkeling and diving so much. Yeah.
So you mean it's mostly for like tourists, for the people who visit the island?
I think it's more geared towards tourists
Yeah.
than local people. Yeah. And
So
I feel like the local people, I mean, there are obviously local people that dive and stuff like this, but I think it's more for tourists. Yeah.
I see. So if we talk about like a typical person who lives in Okinawa, who is that? What kind of things the person do?
That's hard, man. That's hard to say because like I've been here so long, so I know like very different kinds of people.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I worked in an agricultural school before,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe they would grow up and they would work on their parents' farm, raising pigs or growing tropical fruits or something, and that might have been a very normal thing for them to do. And like for my wife, like my wife has a friend, he's a clothes designer and he's opened up his own store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a typical Okinawan thing is really hard for me to put my finger on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, man.
So you mean like, but it's kind of like the feature of Okinawa, right? That people here, they may be so much different, right? It's not just one culture.
Yeah. This is a thing that I've like felt since I've come to Japan, where I feel like we are sold that Japan, everyone's the same. It's the same culture.
Yeah.
And even when I was teaching English in the schools, there were textbooks. We would teach our students how to speak about Japanese culture to foreigners.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, one of the main things was like Japan is 4 seasons. This is like a big thing. But I'm like, it's autumn right now,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, kind of.
But right?
Yeah.
So it's not like there are many places across Japan,
Uh-huh.
and autumn can mean very different things to people in those places.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not as monocultural as I feel that we led to believe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt the same. I mean, before I came to Okinawa, I lived in mainland,
Yeah.
and it may be surprising, but Japan is kind of, there is a standard for everything. So the standard of behavior, the standard of relationships, the standard of friendship, the standard of a company you should work in.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And it means for foreigners and for me it's kind of shocking, you know. So
Okay.
so because we like me personally, I'm kind of a person who likes freedom,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to decide by myself what to do, how to live, who have friendship with, you know. But in some cultures and in some countries you still have to follow some it may be like parents or some community or the government who tells
Sure.
you
Okay.
like what to do and how to live. And I felt that very seriously in Japan, but here in Okinawa I feel that there is a lot of freedom, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Okinawans would say that about themselves. I think they feel more free.
And especially I found that what kind of clothes they wear, you know, especially young people. So it may be like so different. So of course, if you are somewhere in Tokyo, in Shibuya, right?
Sure. Yeah.
It may be
It's got
like
its own thing, right?
like
Yeah,
rainbow,
okay.
you know.
Yeah.
But here in Okinawa, it's very close to that. So people, sometimes I think that people don't actually care.
Okay.
It may be someone, some kind of a reason why they do like this, right? They don't care, but in fact, some of them really care, and when they do like that, they look very differently, you know.
Okay.
They behave very differently.
Differently. Yeah.
They have some of the people here, they like Americans. Some people don't like them, you know.
Yeah.
Some people. So especially, I ask you, like, how do people react when you tell them that you are from South Africa? Because here in Okinawa there are not many people from South Africa, I
No.
believe,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of shocking for them, right? You know, first time I see some guy from Africa.
Yes.
Justin, yeah, I met Justin yesterday, you know.
Yeah. And he doesn't look like any of the other pictures of African people I've ever
Yeah,
seen. So
yeah. But at the same time, I felt so when I just came here. So sometimes I just talk with people about like what do they like, you know, what kind of lifestyle they do, and I found that a lot of local people, they just keep conversation with you like you are like a tourist, you know. You
Okay.
came here for a short time, they tell you just some kind of short story that is like acceptable for everyone, you know.
okay.
But when you try to get deeper, so they kind of don't really want it, you know. So they
Okay.
want to keep some distance between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you feel the same?
So I'll tell you, before I came here,
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Japanese embassy in South Africa and we had like an orientation
Mm-hmm.
to get us ready to go to Japan. And then one woman told us it's very hard to make friends in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe this is what you're feeling. And I will say, to a certain extent, the conversations were always kind of the same. Oh, you're from South Africa. What is it like in South Africa? Is
What
it
kind of
hard?
food?
It's always the same kind of questions. So yeah, but what the woman said is, when you do make a friend in Japan, it's a friend for life.
Yeah.
And I will say that I definitely feel that. Yeah, I feel like some of my Japanese friends are. I've shared more with my Japanese friends than I've shared with some of my friends back home. So yeah, I think it is different. Yeah. But it's just making that friend for life kind of thing that takes a while. My wife
Mm-hmm.
is definitely my friend for life, right?
Yeah.
So that has been very helpful. Yeah, but I know what you're speaking about, like this treated as a tourist thing. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So what do you think about Americans here? So is it like a benefit for Okinawa, or it's a problem?
I think that Okinawa. So, if you look at the whole of Japan, Okinawa's got like, it's more than 70% of the US bases are located in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel that the local people, I mean, there have been bad things that have happened,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't have happened if there weren't bases here, right? So okay, but I think because if the bases were more spread out throughout the whole of Japan,
Mm-hmm.
those things would have happened in the whole of Japan. Do you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
yeah,
So it
so-
wouldn't have been so obvious.
Yeah.
All right, and then from what I've seen also is like, so I went to Mount Fuji and you drive past a base there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of more in countryside, whereas like here, like if you go driving in Chatham, like there's like Japan City, well it's not a city, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
on one side, and then it's like a base on the other side, and it's like this half is not allowed in that half, you know what I mean? And it's, yeah, I think it would be better if the bases were more spread through the whole of Japan. Yeah. Is it good for like, I feel like so let me tell you another story. When I arrived, it was before 9/11, and no, I arrived just after 9/11. So before 9/11, so the guy that taught English before me, they used to walk in on base, and they used to go watch movies and go bowling and do all kinds of stuff like this. And I feel a lot of the locals did that. I'm not sure, I wasn't here, but I feel like after the bases got strict about the rules, then things started getting a little bit
I see.
tough.
So actually, before the base was.
I think there was more interaction between the base and the
Uh-huh.
locals, and there was kind of more, maybe more friendships were happening.
Yeah.
But once they got more strict about the rules, I think, yeah, things became a little bit more difficult.
I see.
Yeah.
So Justin, so it's already 6
Yeah,
p.m.
sorry, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last question: who would you recommend to visit Okinawa? Or maybe not just visit, maybe move here.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And so we were speaking about like how the simple life kind of changes you,
Mm-hmm.
and I really think that people that are looking to just try something totally new and are willing to put down their ideas of what it should be like, I think those kind of people will love Okinawa. Yeah, and there's a lot to see here, and there's a lot to learn. I think anyone that's like you were saying earlier, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to say the wrong thing. My friend and I walked into like a funeral house
Mm-hmm.
while a funeral was going on, not knowing what that. So these kind of mistakes are gonna happen. But as you go along, you're gonna appreciate more of like these things in life. I think it's, yeah. I think someone that's like kind of like fed up maybe with the things aren't like going as they planned. Maybe they can learn from that. Maybe, yeah. I think someone who's just wants to experience something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
This would definitely be a good place to do that. And there will be mistakes and there will be things that happen, but you'll learn from them and you'll become a better person. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you for the interview.
All right.
So finally we found the time, because like why we did not do that before, because it was super warm outside and we could not do that outside.
Yeah, it's pretty humid. Yeah. Yeah.
But now it's much better.
Much
you know?
better.
I feel myself like absolutely fine,
Fine,
after
yeah,
1
yeah.
hour being outside. Yeah. So thank you for the interview, and
Yeah.
good luck in your future. Good luck in your personal growth.
Thanks, man.
And
And you too, man. Yeah.
And if you have any questions to Justin, you can just leave them in the comments, and I will address these questions to Justin later, and probably he will reply to them. So I believe he will reply.
Yeah.
Yep.
Share your channel with me. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Cool, man.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you guys. Thank you for
Cheers,
watching.
Bye bye.